Yo, what is going on, guys? Flashverse here, and welcome back to another video on Superman and Lois. And this will be my review and breakdown for Superman and Lois Season 1, Episode 4, titled Haywire. And once again, Superman and Lois delivers another great episode. I am so happy with how this show is going. And let's just say this episode allowed me to clear my head from that Flash episode that we got. But once again, we had some great stuff going on with this episode. We had some great Lois Lane scenes, which I really liked. We have some more of Morgan Edge, which again, I really liked. And we had that very interesting ending scene to go over as well. So, spoiler alert, in case you guys haven't seen the episode, you have been warned because this is a review and breakdown after all. So I'll be going over the episode bit by bit as I give you guys my overall thoughts on it. So there are some spoilers which you certainly wouldn't want to hear from me. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, go watch the episode and come back later for this breakdown. And for those who are sticking around, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. Okay, so this episode kicks off in a flashback with Morgan Edge, and we basically have Morgan Edge and like a group of men driving to like a crash site, and they look at some sort of like an artifact. We have Morgan Edge saying, "Now the resurrection begins." Now I have no idea what that's about, and I have no idea what that artifact that they're looking at is. If anyone in the comment section has a clue in regards to what Morgan Edge was looking at and he supposedly took, be sure to tell me because I really have no clue. But we then head to present day and we have Morgan Edge showing up at the football game, and we basically have Kyle fanboying about Morgan Edge, and he just mentions how big of a fan he is with the work that Morgan Edge is doing for Smallville. But Morgan Edge basically makes this plan with Kyle and Lana Lang to take them to dinner. And by the looks of it, like as soon as this scene started, I'm like, wait, does Morgan Edge have like, some sort of feelings towards Lana Lang? Because the way he just stared at her, it was pretty damn creepy, and it seemed like, he liked her. But Lois is just annoyed that Morgan Edge is over there as well, and just, Kyle fanboying about him. But we have Samuel Lane showing up to the game right before Jordan is substituted onto the field. And yeah, Jordan saves the team from losing. He makes this, great tackle and stuff. And he, helps the team score that touchdown, I think you call it. Once again, I do not know my rules for American football, so I do not know what the things are called. But I'm pretty sure it's called a touchdown. But we then have this argument between Samuel Lane and Lois Lane, where he finds out that Jordan is a special kid because, he was able to get rid of these boys easily. He was able to tackle them without any issues, and normally that's not something Jordan would do. So Samuel Lane was suspicious about that, and Lois basically mentions that he could have his father's Kryptonian powers to an extent. Samuel Lane is basically angry about the fact that she never shared this with him, that Jordan obviously has powers, and Lois basically tells him that they aren't 100% sure yet that Jordan has powers. And Lois also mentions that her and Clark have everything under control, so Samuel Lane shouldn't be worried about anything. But Clark then shows up, assisting his wife, and they basically defend themselves against what Samuel Lane is saying. And Samuel Lane just doesn't like the way the family is doing things, if you will. Like, he doesn't like the fact that Clark's priorities are changing because he needs to be out there as Superman, but Clark wants to spend his time with his family, which you would understand because he is a father. And Samuel Lane is overthinking it because he's just such a military person. He always thinks like the job is more important than his family. But Clark wants to go out there as Superman only when it's an emergency, so he could obviously have that time with his family as well. And Samuel Lane also mentions that basically everyone in the military are afraid of Superman. He's the one that's keeping the military in check, that they shouldn't be worried about this person. And he also mentions that there's a prisoner transfer happening and that this person's very dangerous and they need Superman to basically assist the move, if you will. Now we then head to this cafe or something, and everybody's celebrating with Jordan because Jordan obviously saved the team, if you will. And a fight almost breaks out between Tag Harris, I think it was. I had no idea what that character was called because I forgot his name, but I checked on IMDb and it said Tag Harris, so I'm guessing that's his name. But he's getting bullied by one of, Sarah's ex-boyfriend's friends, and Jonathan basically stops the fight from happening. But meanwhile that is happening, Lana and Kyle have dinner with Morgan Edge, and Morgan Edge basically mentions how he sees this potential in Lana and how, he believes in her, and he also offers her a job as well, in which you do see Lana is starting to feel uncomfortable, like Edge is flirting with her, and you do see that, but again, Kyle doesn't do anything about it. But also, we have Lois Lane and her editor being paid a visit by Morgan Edge's lawyer, in which I'm pretty sure is Lesla. I can't really remember how the actress looked like last episode, but I'm pretty sure they looked alike, so I think this is Lesla once again. And she basically mentions that Morgan Edge knows about her Daily Planet contract, so she cannot publish anything like, anti-Morgan Edge, and she cannot publish the article which she was about to publish, or else she will be sued a lot of money, in which the family will end up bankrupt. Now we then have Tag Harris with a cast, and he's pretty much upset that he missed the game, in which he starts to dig at his arm and he, tries to pull out the cast, in which his hand starts to shake and goes all Reverse Flash like. Now Clark basically practices football with the kids because he is like a football coach after all. Jonathan basically shares to his father that he's annoyed that Jordan has been playing football, yet he is on the bench when Jonathan is obviously the more talented one in football, but because Jordan having these abilities, he's like, more physically strong, if you will, so he does have the ability to defend really well. So yeah, that is something that really bothers Jonathan, which is understandable from his point of view because, he is the more talented one, so he's supposed to be the one that's playing football, and Jordan doesn't like football in general, so, it is pretty understandable where Jonathan is coming from, but I really like how he isn't like, going at Jordan because of that. I really like, how he's calm and chill about it. But Lois Lane then mentions to Clark that she's going to pay a visit to Morgan Edge, and she knows that he is at the mine, so that is where she's going to go. And she also asks Clark for help and that she needs backup during the assembly since she isn't able to do anything anti-Morgan Edge, or else she will be bankrupt, and she knows that, so she needs someone else to basically go anti-Morgan Edge, if you will. Now Lana and Kyle then get ready for that town meeting for Morgan Edge, and Lana basically thinks Edge is a jerk and that he made her uncomfortable during that dinner the other night. And she tells Kyle about this, in which Kyle isn't mad and he didn't even notice. So this obviously makes Lana very angry and she just storms off. Now we then have Lois confronting Morgan Edge about what he's doing to Lois and like, how he's preventing her from publishing those articles and basically exposing Morgan Edge. And once again, this storyline is so interesting. I cannot wait to see how this progresses. But she wants to know why Ed chose Smallville of all places. And Edge is wondering the same. He wants to know why a famous journalist like Lois Lane moves to a place like Smallville. And he does mention that it won't take him long for him to figure out the reason. So I'm very interested to see if Morgan Edge will potentially find out if Clark Kent is Superman or not. But Lois also warns Morgan Edge that she will be at that town meeting, attending it, and that she will use her, last card, if you will, to end Morgan Edge, in which it was supposed to be Clark. But let's just say that doesn't happen. Now Clark and the boys are at, this lecture by the coach, and we have General Samuel Lane checking the prison transport situation. So we get these transitions with the prison transfer. So we have Tag going to the bathroom because he starts glitching out again. We're going all Reverse Flash style. But then we also have that prison transfer happening. So for the football situation, we have Jonathan going to check on his friend, in which he is in the bathroom and he basically busts his cast off out of nowhere and he just continuously starts vibrating like that. But obviously he doesn't show Jonathan the reason. But Jonathan tells Clark something is wrong and he wants Clark to check over, but that is when Clark hears that something has gone wrong. So while Clark was at the football training area, we have the prisoner Thaddeus Kilgrave setting off this explosion so he could obviously escape, and we have his henchmen basically meeting with him as well. So Clark listens to that and he heads over to that area. But while Clark arrives to the scene as Superman, he finds the prisoner gone. He is no longer there, but he left a message for him saying that they will meet soon. Now Superman continues to search the area for the prisoner, and he's informing the military that he is out of sight, but he will continue to look for him. And Sam basically gives the boys this, talk about their obligation to do good, and that their father is special and he doesn't need to be distracted because they are stopping him from being Superman full time, which obviously Clark doesn't want that. He wants to spend time with his family, but Samuel Lane hates the idea of Clark basically changing his priorities, so he gives that lecture to the kids. Now at the town meeting, Kyle basically rallies the town in why they should believe in Morgan Edge, while Lois tries to call Clark because that was her weapon that she was going to use, if you want to say, but he isn't answering because he is doing his Superman business, trying to find that prisoner who escaped. But while Lois leaves the town meeting, she runs into Lana Lang, in which she asks Lois if they just want to go out. Now at home, Lois gets ready to go out to have drinks with Lana, in which Clark arrives and he apologizes for not being there for Lois because he was out there being Superman. And Lois gets it. She's like, I get you. But you do see that she is still annoyed. Now she then opens up and she feels like she isn't a main priority for Clark anymore, and that she feels like she's at the bottom underneath the kids and underneath being Superman as well. So Clark isn't too happy about this as well, and she basically heads out to meet with Lana. And meanwhile the boys head to a party again. Now Lana and Lois talk about the men in their lives and their basically annoyance by them. Now Lana mentions that she thinks that Lois brings out the best of Clark, which was a nice talk where she mentions that the Clark she saw when he returned is no way near to the Clark she remembers growing up with. Now at the party we have Jordan telling Sarah that he is really happy being part of the team and playing football, and he's basically living this perfect life in Smallville, so he's really happy about it. And Jonathan basically keeps an eye on Tag because he knows something is up with him. Now Tag basically cuts his hand due to these weird vibrations that he keeps getting, and once again he begins to shake. And once again he tries to brace himself, but he snaps the edge of the table, and he basically tells his friend, who gets mad that he broke his table, that he couldn't do anything about it, in which Tag just runs off and Jonathan chases right after him. Now Superman arrives to see the prisoner Thaddeus Kilgrave, and Thaddeus uses this sonic tech to hurt Superman and to pin him on the ground, and Superman drops to his knees as he is struggling to face off against him. But then he hears Jonathan calling for help. Jonathan and Jordan are out in the woods trying to help Tag, who cannot stop his hand from vibrating because Jordan is half Kryptonian, so he tries to stop Tag from going all reverse Flash style. But Superman then claps his hands, doing that thing that he normally does, and he basically sends everyone flying back, knocking them out. And he melts the prisoner's weapon using heat vision as well, and he calls the military while he just rushes to go help the boys, in which he takes Tag and he basically takes him sky high because thin air would help him in his situation. That was something that he said. Now later that night we have the family and Sam meeting for a family talk. They share that Tag is a metahuman. Now he will be going to some sort of special school where they treat metahumans, and Clark wants to know why they didn't call sooner, in which we have the two boys staring at Samuel Lane, which was quite funny to see, and Samuel Lane just standing there embarrassed, but Sam admits that it was because of him that the boys are excused. And Lois basically tells her dad that he will not be welcomed in this house anymore if he interferes with the family's business again. Now the next day Lana seems to feel a lot better after having those drinks with Lois, and she basically just goes and kisses Kyle in the kitchen after complimenting him, and he is surprised, but he's happy that that happened. Now that night Clark invites Lois to a romantic dinner in the barn, and he tells her how important she is, and Sam basically calls with his situation. She lets Clark go. She says she means it, but they need Superman right now, so he needs to go. Now Sam basically calls in a new project, 7734. And this is pretty much a contingency plan which is developed by Samuel Lane to go against metas, regardless if they're good or not. But they have this power beyond an ordinary person. So for that purpose, they could become a threat given at any time. So that is why he sets up the 7734, and it's mainly to use against Superman as well, if you will. Now the episode then ends with Morgan Edge and Lesla going into some place, and we have Lesla punching a hole in the cave wall. He basically tells her all about their overabundance of kryptonite. Now this kryptonite is very interesting, and I'm interested to see if Morgan Edge will, start to recruit some villains where he will try and, sell this kryptonite to make money out of it. I'm not entirely sure. Does Captain Luthor play a part with Morgan Edge as well? That'll be very interesting to see. But overall, this is once again another fantastic episode of Superman and Lois. I think it was once again great and definitely helped clear my mind from that Flash episode which we got today. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys thought about this episode. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.